Stefan and Tammy were buying a home with a heated pool. I have a feeling you've heard this before. At closing, they found on the closing disclosure that they were being charged some $10,000 for the propane that was left in the tank in the heated pool. Nothing had ever been discussed about the propane fuel in the tank before in the contract or subsequently. And so both Stephen and Tammy said to the closing attorney that the fee needed to be taken off the closing disclosure or they wouldn't close on the house. Were there any other options that you think they could or should have explored in your mind, Lee?
Well, the first thing is there is a specific question on the Louisville contract about propane tanks. Are you going to keep the tanks? Are you going to keep the propane? Is it going to be drained out by the seller? All of that is in the contract. So the first thing would have been to address the propane on any property that has it through the contract and agree up front.
Mm-hmm.
And suppose that if the buyer is going to have to pay more for that. Of course, at that point, when they're sitting at the closing table, the only other option would be at that point to negotiate with the seller, and perhaps the seller, if he was going to lose his closing, would be willing to capitulate and not either take the propane or not make them pay for it. But that's really, once you get down to the closing table, there's, your options are few at that point.
What if it's not addressed in the contract itself? It seems like the seller is then responsible for the dollar figure of propane. Is that right?
Yeah, if they're up until time of closing, yes.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, hopefully that's going to help Stephen and Tammy. They actually went ahead and ended up agreeing the seller to take the cost of the propane off of their side of the closing disclosure. So Lee was right on target with what her suggestion was.